is going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of The Legislative Director, talking about legislative things. Almost there. She's almost there. The end of session is near. Legislative Director Amber Marr with her as always. Excited about the end of session as well. Not the Legislative Director, Jason Thompson. Amber. This is it. This is almost it.
I thought you heard my email go off and that my volume wasn't down.
No, I wasn't going to say anything about that. But I appreciate you self-reporting. So I paused for dramatic effect because session is almost over. We are recording this on Thursday. They are going to be wrapping up on Friday, March, whatever the date is on Friday.
It's the 8th.
The 8th.
It's because it's my brother's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, well, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Amber's brother.
I just had to.
Give him a shout out.
Happy birthday, Quincy.
He watches the show, right?
I don't know.
Well, we're going to find out because we just gave him a happy birthday greeting on the show.
I mean, I don't think he's an avid watcher.
Well,
not because he doesn't want to. He travels a lot. He has,
Yeah.
Anyway, happy birthday.
The internet hasn't made it to all the places yet.
Man.
I'm just kidding. Hopefully he watches this at some point in time. But happy birthday. Thanks for maybe watching the show. And if not, I hope you started. And this is your birthday gift from me to you. Shout out to the show. Awesome. Session is ending on your brother Quincy's birthday. And it is not supposed to end on his birthday. It's supposed to end a week later.
Yeah.
Basically.
On the 14th.
14th is when they're constitutionally required to wrap up.
That's what I was going to say. So technically, if they didn't get through things tomorrow, they don't have to.
Okay.
They still have another week.
They do.
But they have made it very clear that they want to be done.
Yes.
So they are working, I maybe wouldn't say fast and furiously.
Feverishly.
I would say
maybe.
just like, there's some
urgency.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Pressure.
Okay.
If you will.
That works too.
To make sure that folks are getting in those conference committees, talking about what is going to be in those conference committee reports, just in hopes that tomorrow will be sine die.
The end.
Yes.
So there are a few conference committees that are happening, not a ton, but there are some. One in particular.
Oh yeah.
That we're paying attention to. Let's talk about that one. Because that's really the last piece of legislation that we're really paying attention to in these waning hours of the session. Well, look.
Let's not. Okay.
Here we go. Attempting fate again.
We're watching everything because during conference committee,
anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Okay. So we're watching everything, but one that's still in particular.
Oh, yes. Like a specific
bill, I guess. I should have clarified.
Because in any bill, any language can be shoved in wherever. So we're always watching everything. But you're right. House Bill 1004, which is now called Pensions Matter. Because I don't know if we gave an update on this last week.
I don't know if we did because we were, as folks know, we were on the road.
Yeah.
And we were on our way back from Evansville or in Evansville. So we didn't really, we just kind of hit it. I think we maybe mentioned it. Maybe we didn't because we were all caught up in the excitement of Senate Bill 52 and everything that happened with that. So
yeah.
Let's bring folks up to speed. What is 1004 and what is happening with it?
Yes. 1004 used to be called the 13th check because I know we've talked about it before.
Mm-hmm.
So when we referenced House Bill 1004 before, it was the 13th check for public employees. It last Thursday, actually, it went through Senate appropriations where they did a strip and insert. What that means is that they stripped the bill of the original language, which was the 13th check language, and they inserted the language of Senate Bill 275. And the thing about that is, and I'm going to, really fast, because I'm trying to, because Senate Bill 275 was actually titled Pensions Matters, and we went over that too. that particular bill made a lot of changes to the public employees pension process. It just did not have a 13th check for 2024, but it made everything electronic and was going to upgrade some systems so that we wouldn't have to keep coming back every year and talking about this. And so it kind of broke down who was going to get a 13th check if you were retired on a certain day, who was going to get a cost of living adjustment if you were retired moving forward, because they're making some of these changes. But let's go back and make sure I'm not confusing everyone. House Bill 1004 was heard in Senate Appropriations last Thursday. It was stripped of the current language. Senate Bill 275 was inserted into House Bill 1004.
So 275 is now 1004. Kind of.
Yes.
The language of 275 is now the language of 1004.
Because Senate Bill 275 was not heard in the House, so it died. That specific bill died because it did not get a hearing before the deadline. But in the Senate, they stripped 1004 and made it 275.
So I hope you're all writing this down. And I highlights what this process is like as we get towards the end. So 1004 was 13th check, just the 13th check.
Right.
275 was no 13th check
for 2024.
For 2024, but setting up a process by which a 13th check or a cost of living adjustment would happen going forward.
Yes.
Okay.
Beginning in, I believe, 2025.
Okay.
But then, yes.
So
I will keep going.
No 13th in the current version where it is right now.
Yep.
No 13th check for this year for folks.
Correct.
Old version, 13th check this year.
Yes.
Now I'm confusing you.
But that's right.
Okay. So now we're in a place where we have the folks from the House, the folks from the Senate are getting together at a conference committee to hash out the differences of 1004.
Yes. House Bill 1004 was heard in conference committee this morning for about 0.2 seconds. And basically, they said they're still running language on what the compromise might be. Does it stay as is? Do they add the 13th check to the language, which is essentially 275 right now, so that you not only get the 13th check, but you also have all of those changes moving forward, which is needed, but also not necessarily without the 13th check this year. So they have not reached an agreement yet. Okay. And the conference committee, they recessed, because that's what happens when you are in a conference committee and there's no conference committee report signed yet. They don't adjourn because they have to leave the committee open, because they will hopefully they will come back and tell you what they've decided on is the original.
This is the part. I mean, a lot of the process is often hashed out, not out in public.
So right now, everybody's talking to everybody else behind, not necessarily behind closed doors, but definitely not
in a public meeting.
Yeah.
So this is kind of where the part of the process that is not the most transparent, if you will, but then they will emerge from where they're hashing out these deals.
Yeah.
And then the committee will reconvene where they'll say, hey, this is what has been agreed upon. Let's go from there.
Because I don't think we said there is a small piece of the process we left out. Because after the Senate Appropriations Committee stripped the original language, inserted Senate Bill 275, as a reminder, that still got voted on the full Senate floor, and it passed. It passed 42-6, the way that they amended it in committee. Then it had to go back to the House, and the author, Representative Cherry, had to dissent, because if there are any changes made in the other chamber, when it goes back to the originating chamber, which would have been the Senate on this one.
House.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Yourselves.
This is why I can't even explain this process. It's so confusing. And then I get it wrong and then confuse you even more. Anyway, so the Senate got to vote on it. It had to go back to the original chamber, which was the House.
Yes.
Because it was House Bill 1004.
Yes.
Then Representative Cherry dissented, and that's when that conference committee got scheduled.
And here we are. That
really took a...
Look, this is the process. It's not very, it's messy.
It is a little messy.
A little messy.
Yeah.
Especially as we get here towards the end.
Yes.
It's messier than usual.
So we're just waiting to figure out what this compromise is going to look like, trying to communicate with folks to see if there's anything that could be leaked. But so far, we're not quite sure what this is going to look like.
Nothing yet.
I will say the Senate conferees were Senator Buchanan and Senator Niezgotsky. The Senate advisors were Kadora and Mishler. Who am I forgetting here? Let's start over. Oh my gosh, guys, this is woo. All right, pause. Here we go. The House conferees were Representative Cherry and Porter. The Senate conferees were Buchanan and Niezgotsky. Those are usually the individuals that will sign the report. Then you've got advisors that will come and listen or help or whatever. And those advisors there's a lot of folks on the advisors. So we won't go through that. But I did want to say the conferees includes Representative Cherry, who was the original author of the bill.
Okay.
So he's being obvious. I mean, he's in these conversations and should be, because this is his last session. He's retiring.
Okay.
So hopefully we can, he's really adamant about getting the 13th check for 2024. So
we'll see what happens.
I've been doing that a lot today.
Yeah. Look, that's just like a standard operating procedure towards the end of session. So we will stay tuned. By the time you watch this or listen to this, this could be all wrapped up. So hopefully you'll have to come back next week and get all the details of where this thing landed. But that's where we are for right now. We are watching. We are, doing what one does at this time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that is besides looking at everything, that's the one focus piece of legislation that we're really tuned in on for this end of session, while we also keep an eye on everything else.
I love how you were like, so we're only really watching one thing.
That was not true. I guess I just meant one that we were like, this is the bill that isn't. Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna stop talking now. All right. So what else do we have going on that we want to bring to people's attention? I'm looking at your notes here.
You mean my notes?
Your notes, yeah, because I don't have my notes. Behavioral Health Commission, as you recall, we had a meeting at the end of January that focused on adults. And then the next meeting is coming up on
older adults.
Sorry, 55 and over.
There we go.
There we go, 55 and over. So focused on older adults. Now, April 10th, we are looking at the next population, which is intellectual and developmental disability population. And then in May, we're having another meeting that's going to focus in on children. So stay tuned for that. We'll give you an update. But that next meeting is coming up in April. And then the next one for May. And then after that, the commission will get down and try to start hashing out some of those details about the report that we have to do.
And for those of you that remember, this last Behavioral Health Commission meeting was in the morning.
Yes.
On April 10th, it's in the afternoon.
Okay, so we're looking at 1 o'clock, 1 to 4 o'clock-ish.
Looks like that.
It looks like it. Looking at your calendar.
Yep.
So stay tuned for those details. We'll try to let folks know maybe in an upcoming episode of the show.
Yes, because I think that it'll still have a virtual option where you can watch.
Yeah, generally these meetings are streamed online, so we'll let you know where you can do that.
Yes.
If you didn't get to see the last one, you'll get to see this next one, and then going forward.
Yep.
Awesome. What else do we want to mention going on? What's some other things? Some other housekeeping things. The Community Challenge Grant. That's wrapped up and closed now, I believe. So stay tuned in the coming weeks and months where we will announce those winners.
Do you want to explain?
So for those of you who may not know, first of all, I encourage you to subscribe, download This Is In, which is another podcast show that we have here. As you guys, longtime watchers of the show or listeners of the show, that is where our colleagues Emily Gorman and Addison Pollock, This Is In, this is where they talk with some of their community partners and things of that nature.
And you've seen Emily and Addison on the show.
Both been on the show before, friends of the program. They have their own show that I can't encourage you enough to go seek out and subscribe to, because that show is going to be ramping up here as well. You'll hear from them about some of the Community Challenge Grants. And as for those of you who aren't familiar, the Community Challenge Grant is a program that AARP does where it's these kind of like small micro type grants This is a nationwide initiative from AARP. Indiana has shown up very well in this area. I don't remember the exact dollar amount that we have given out since the start of the program, but it's a lot of money, and it's helping a lot of communities. And the idea is that there are these quick action grants that when you get the money, you got basically through the end of the year to kind of do it, and put it out there. So you're going to see a lot of things like some placemaking type things, so like little park things or signage. We've done some. So there's a lot of different ones that we've done. I think there was one of the ones we did in Fort Wayne was a walking path at a hospice facility back there. So that was really great. We've seen a lot of different programs that are out there. There's been ones that have helped to expand transit in some areas in Southern Indiana. That's one I remember as well.
Because you said this focuses a lot on our livable communities work.
It's our livable communities work. So it's a lot of that kind of programming. So there's these municipalities and nonprofits that go out there to put in for these, and if they receive the money, they get to do some cool things. So we look at public places, housing, transportation. There's some other categories that are in there as well.
I'm cheating.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as well. But there's things like where we've helped with murals and food pantry, all sorts of good stuff. And it's up on the screen, aarp.org/community challenge. Thank you, Dan. So yeah, that's all wrapped up. So stay tuned for the announcement of the winners in Indiana, and you'll be hearing from Addison and Emily about that.
But if you missed applying this year, don't worry. We do it every year, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah, I gave you a look like, no, we don't. Yeah, we do.
I was like, oh, giving the wrong information. This is why I made you talk about it.
Yeah.
But we do it every year. And so we will always announce when the opening of the application process is, hopefully for 2025, if we are able to do it again. But I believe we have done this now for a number of years, so hopefully it is going to be back next year.
It's been a minute, and I think it'll be around.
So yes,
stay tuned for that.
Yes, if you missed it this year, you'll get next year.
Yep. What else is happening? There's something else we want to talk about.
Yes.
That's coming soon.
So wanted to give a quick update with our what's going on with some of our friends at the Indiana Office of Energy Development. Since you have heard so much about our utilities work, I just wanted to talk about what might be coming soon, if you will. They are working towards what they're calling home energy rebate programs. And this is the home energy rebate programs consist of two separate and distinct energy efficient related programs that are going to be in the process of being built out. And the Office of Energy Development is going to be hosting several gatherings around the state for consumer input.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yep.
We're getting ready to meet with that office around the ins and outs of these types of programs, and to figure out, what is best for consumers, how do we get the word out once these programs are available. And so, especially for our members.
Yeah, when it comes to energy costs, as we like to keep on talking about, we focus a lot on, rate increases and things of that nature, but just with the general increased cost of everything that folks are dealing with. So that's food, medicine, other household costs, like any increase to an energy bill can have a huge impact. And any way that you can find that will help to lower that energy bill is something that our folks in particular are really interested in doing. And that includes making their home more energy efficient. And hopefully the idea, it looks like, is that this program is going to offer some rebates to folks so they would be able to make those improvements and potentially, not only get some of that money back in the form of a rebate, but also then in the long term save some on their energy costs.
Absolutely.
So we're excited.
We're excited.
This has been a program that I think the Office of Energy Development has been working on for quite some time.
Yes.
Working with our federal friends.
Yeah, we met with the executive director, Ryan Hadley. I want to say it was a year or so ago, maybe even a little bit more. But he had talked about that this money was going to be available, and now it's actually coming into play. So it's just been a long process because, federal dollars and getting everything submitted federally for Indiana to take part. And now we're building out the program, and hopefully by the fall they are going to be rolling it out.
So we're excited. Stay
Yeah.
tuned for hearing some more from us about that. And I don't know what else. I mean, there's. You would think that with session wrapping up that things are going to slow down, but guess what? You'd be wrong.
Yeah.
Especially because there's also this other thing that's happening. I don't know if you know. There's an election that's happening in November, and there's also a primary election that's happening in May.
Yes, gubernatorial.
Yeah, gubernatorial. Well,
Did I say that right?
Yeah, you did say gubernatorial.
It sounded weird.
It's a weird word.
Governor's race.
Yeah, the governor's race is an open seat. There's a lot of candidates on the Republican side that are running. It's an exciting time in regards to that race. So stay tuned for some activities from us around that.
Yeah.
As well as encouraging folks to
maybe some fun news next week.
Maybe we'll see. Stay tuned. Look, that's the teasers. We're getting good at to encouraging people to come back. So we got some of that going on. Look, there's a lot of fun things that AARP Indiana is doing. So stay tuned to keep on hearing us from that. Obviously, we'll be back next week to talk about, do a little mini session recap, and then we'll start rolling out some planning and some programming for the interim. Amber's going to go on vacation for real this time.
So, yeah, for real, and I'm not going to be calling in. Well, who knows? Maybe I will.
I don't think you will.
No, I don't think so. But next week will be our last episode for a week.
Yeah,
and then we're
gonna take some. We're gonna take some a little time off.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit, and then we'll come back and talk some more.
But I know what you're thinking.
We said this last year. And then we disappeared for 6 months.
We didn't come back until session. We were like, hey, we'll see you soon.
Yeah.
We'll be back. Nope.
There's a little bit of ghosting going on there, and I apologize.
We're working on that.
We're working on it. We're doing better. We're doing more. And that's what I'm looking forward to, is this show's we're going to keep on rolling. We're going to try some new things. We're going to maybe we get some more guests on. Look, we're going to do some stuff.
Yeah.
We'll let you know as those plans start rolling out. So stay tuned to that. And look, I think what you need to walk away from this episode with is stay tuned. There's a lot happening. And we're going to have a lot to talk about. In the meantime, Amber's going to tie a little bow on this session. And then give it away because it's over and go on a nice little vacation. But next week, we will recap what happens with 1004. So you'll see what's happening there. And then also what happened with all of our other legislation. I was just going to say,
we can just give a quick rundown of where everything
and then we'll try to go
ended up.
Some more in depth on some of these things. If there's a bill you really want to hear about that we're talking about, reach out, let us know, tell us in the comments and whatnot. I don't know if anybody does that, but I'll put it out there.
Do you check the comments?
I think I do. I
don't know that I've ever seen anyone comment.
I think somebody needs to make a comment.
Maybe just make a comment so we can see if it works. And if Jason checks
to prove whether or not I check it, I'm gonna get called out here. So do that, and then also if there's something else you want us to chat about from this legislative session,
a nice comment.
Well, look, comment however you feel so inclined.
But kind.
But be nice. Be nice in the comments.
Okay.
All right. Anything else, Amber? Hey, good work this session.
Can't think of anything else right now.
Well, you're almost there. Almost there. So close.
So close yet so far.
So close. Okay. Well, we'll get that done.
Yeah.
With this session. Keep an eye on things. And then I hope you keep an eye on this show and this space for everything that's coming up in the weeks and months ahead. And until then, we will see you next time on The Legislative Director, talking about legislative things. Bye.